Let's.
Okay. Okay. Good.
I'm gonna do
Okay.
what do you call it? Wayne's World. Woo, woo.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you've been a part of the community for a long time, so it's nice to have
I
you
have.
here
Yeah.
as our guest speaker. And today we're talking about unleashing your best self at 70. That's kind of what we're calling today's talk. So
Hmm.
welcome, Barb.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this. So why don't we just start by telling everybody who's in this community a little bit about yourself?
So yes, as Cindy mentioned, this is my 70th year, and I renewed my passport for 10 years the other day, and OMG, big moment there because I'll be 80 when it expires. So anyway, I've lived in Strathroy for a lot of years. Probably, I don't know, think 39, 40 maybe. So I have four kids, and they're 41, 39, 37, I think, and 34. So, and I have eight grandchildren. I worked, London Public Library for a lot of years, 25-ish or 27, I think, and I've been retired for 5 years. So
Yeah. Yeah, and now let's not forget you do a lot of volunteer work.
I do. I do. I volunteer at as a board member at the Bayfield and Area Food Bank, and I finished a 3-year term, which means I took an extra year. So I can't do the board, but I schedule the food bank for people to come and work it, and to for people to deliver to them. And it's not like where you can go and shop. It's in a confined space, so we work really hard
Yeah.
for 3 days. And then I volunteer for Circles, Bridges Out of Poverty. So I'm a mentor for people that might be stuck in generational poverty, and that's all they know. And we get together and we share a meal together, and the kids have someone to watch them. And then we have guest speakers just like me, but I'm not a guest speaker there. We have speakers come in. So anyway, yeah. And it's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. We're
Yeah.
doing taxes tonight. So yeah, good.
Mm, important one.
Yeah.
It's coming up and we can't avoid
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we just start by just painting a picture as to why you were looking for coaching? So why you were looking for change? What brought you to there?
Okay. Well, I have to say that I have followed you for a long time, and every time you posted something, I always read it. And you had people talk. You've had Justin, I think, from Florida, and the man also from England. I always watch those, and I think you can't get enough information. So for me, I sort of came to the point at 70. I knew this was coming. 70 was right there, and I thought, well, heck, what the heck? I think I want more out of life, and I hope to be very healthy and active for at least the next 10 years or more, right? And I do like to travel. So, and I have, yeah, sure. I have struggled with my weight. I used to laugh and say oh, yeah, I just had a baby, but that baby is 25 or something. And, those 50 pounds really are not baby weight. So, I would try different diets, and I haven't really been one that was like a shake or fast or that kind of thing. But I have, tried through the years. But at the end of it, I kind of felt like I'd arrived, and where did you go from here? So it's slipped back on. So that's kind of it, and
Yeah.
and yeah. And the other thing I did want to mention was I worked at the downtown London Public Library on Dundas, for anyone that knows about that area. We unfortunately, or they unfortunately, have a bulk store, like right out the door. So, you could go to the bulk store 3 times a day, basically, or more actually, on your break. So, and someone in the workroom would always be saying, oh, let's all do the cabbage soup diet, or let's all eat dark chocolate because that will help us, whatever, right? So we were always doing something. But anyway, I came to realize at 70, well, there is a lot more to it than just those things.
Yeah, because you were saying like, hey, those things weren't sticking around.
No, no.
And then when you think about like, because you just shared, hey, I renewed my passport for another 10 years, so I'll be 80. When you think about your future self, when you think
Yeah.
about the next
Mhm.
10
Yeah.
years, what is it that you want to experience?
Well, I do like travel. I love to travel. I like to travel in different places and countries, and I experience different food and cultures and meet different people. So when I retired, I was just getting into retirement, and then we had COVID, right? So now I feel like this is sort of, I'm starting my retirement because things are, more normalish. So I am going by train with two friends I worked with. I'm going to Montreal after Easter. We're going to take the train. That's part of the adventure. And then in August, we've rented a cottage on Prince Edward Island, and the family's going to come. And then I'm going to Tuscany in September. We're going to stay at a villa, and there's 22 people that will be staying there, and that will be our home spot. So I feel like I'm getting everything I didn't have into this. And going forward, I might not do this much in 1 year, but I will, because I don't want to look back and think, gosh, I'm not very mobile. I can't do this. So that's also part of it. I want to be physically fit, just as a natural way of life.
Yeah,
You know?
I love too because all that kind of manifested towards the latter end of our coaching. It was like,
Totally.
yeah, we had this dream big exercise, and it was always
Mhm.
something travel
Yeah.
related. Finally, I was like, let's put the pedal to the
Yeah.
metal, and then things started happening. So I love that. The other thing
Yeah.
that you really love is you love aquafit. So in terms of exercise, you have
Mhm.
some limitations or injuries
Yeah.
through your knee
Yeah.
as well. And so you've kind of said like, hey, I really like aquafit. So that's what you've been doing for your exercise.
Yeah, I have. So, and the other thing I like about what I've learned through you is that, it's not an all or nothing. All or nothing, you're just really, that's not very fair to yourself. Life carries on, and you have to be able to fit things into it. So at a minimum and maximum amount of, physical activity. So my minimum would be 3 times a week. Great would be 5 if I can. Well, I've done 4, and I probably will do, I'll be able to do Friday. I can't do tomorrow. And I do deep because I have problems with my knees. But and I had to say, I remember saying this, Cindy, or writing it or something. Well, yeah, my idea of exercise before was, okay, I really hurt my back, so now I have to exercise to correct it, instead of being proactive and having a healthy lifestyle and not letting that happen, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I also do seniors Tai Chi in Strathroy, and also a yoga. So I feel like have varied things a bit, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's break it down. So, nutritions, because you said, "Hey, I've tried to lose weight before. I've done these other things before." And you're like, they worked and then they didn't work. And so, what did you learn about yourself and nutrition?
Yeah. Well, I actually, when I was following some diet before, I never thought about the macro part of it, the macronutrients, which I just thought, oh, well, I'll just won't worry about that. I'll just do this and count points or whatever and not have to worry about it. But truthfully, I've come to realize that, for your whole metabolism and your gut health and everything, you should think about what's going into your mouth. And so I really liked when I started, because I had that questionnaire to fill out, and my age and my height and my likes and dislikes. And they told me, and you told me, that this is how much protein you should have and carbs. And I have to say, I never thought fruits were a carb. So, anyway, I learned all kinds of things that way. And yeah, I really, it was an eye opener.
Yeah.
You read things on Google, you think, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, but then it doesn't all come together because you're only looking at a small part of it. There's way more. It's a bigger picture.
Yeah. And the how you were eating was something new for you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think anybody that has had a mitt full of people eat, like in big families like Cindy, if you're helping serve at the table or whatever, or you have kids, you don't really enjoy your food. You hope to get it in because you're on to something else, right? So just thinking about what I was eating and taking a little more time, and because I'm on my own, so um, you know, why can't I enjoy my food and taste it? And so yeah, that was an eye opener too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I sometimes I hear from women, it's like it's really hard because I'm only cooking for one.
Hmm.
I'm married, but Neil does not eat the way I eat. So
Hmm.
our entire marriage, I don't know how long we've been married, a long time, but it's
Yeah.
always been cooking for one, or like because
Yeah.
we're eating different. So, can you just speak about that, like cooking for one, eating for
Yeah.
one? 'Cause that's a block for people.
Yeah, I did. And it doesn't have to be. You can experience some pretty exciting foods at different things. And I did actually go through the menus and things, and some of the recipes, and I tagged recipes that I wanted, so that I would be trying something new two, possibly three, something new a week. And then I don't like to make something for six, but I don't mind making something for two or three. And then I easily freeze it. So I just have it right there. And yeah, for some people, Sunday night works if you're going to shop, when you're going to shop. But yeah, that's exactly what I did. And then when we talked about meal planning a little bit more intensively, I went through my things in the freezer and I had them on my kitchen table. This is Monday, breakfast or lunch, and I guess it would be lunch and supper. This is Tuesday, just see what I had and put them back in a kind of a Tupperware container, my lunches and my dinners. So it was all ready to go.
Yeah,
It was
and
pretty
that came
okay.
in handy when you were taking care of your grandson because they were away and you were there for a full
Yeah,
week. And that was
yeah,
kind of why we started talking about meal
yeah,
planning, was
we did.
getting you geared up for when you would be out of the house
Hmm.
and be taking.
Yeah, and I was able to take those there and it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so talk about the practice of eating slow and eating mindfully, because I think that those concepts get thrown out and
Hmm.
people think that
Hmm.
they are, but we practice it in a totally different way.
Hmm. Yeah, and also, so I so sitting down and chewing something that, though this was a, I couldn't believe this, how I didn't know this, but so the whole digestion process actually starts in your mouth because that's where it starts. I thought, okay, you just got to get it down there because your stomach is doing that work, but no, it starts in your mouth. So and I was just an eye opener. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So and that's so I do actually chew my food slower just because of that. And really, actually, the taste is like a small amount of food has the same burst of taste as a huge amount. So, so actually enjoying it and putting my fork down or whatever. And I don't sit in front of the television because I don't, but I'll have the radio on. And actually, I don't think I mentioned this, but I always set, my kids know this, I always set a table. I have really nice placemats and I have dishes that I really like. And always, every meal, that's what is makes my meal that much. My mom did it and it's just kind of special, a different way. And I
Yeah,
think
it's
it's something
special,
that,
and it's
yeah.
also we eat with our eyes, right? So
Hmm.
if the food looks really bland, then
Yeah,
you're not going to excite all of the
yeah,
senses there as well. Now,
yeah.
you're a social butterfly, so you eat out a lot, so how do you navigate that when you want to
Yeah.
lose weight?
Well, I also like the approach that, again, it's not the all or nothing. It's aiming for like 80%. And we talk about that a lot. And yeah, so I actually have girlfriends that I regularly eat with around town. We call ourselves breakfast babes. And they just like said to me at the end of the program, like, how are you doing this? Because you eat with us. We eat the same thing, right? So anyway, but I do know if we tend to breakfast, we like, and there's a couple other things we like. So I know what I'm going to have. So I don't like have a huge lunch or vice versa or whatever, right? And I think I said to Cindy when we were just talking this morning that I think the program is 3 or 4 weeks now since it's ended, and I don't jump on the scale every day, but I will keep track. So my goal was 155 with Cindy, and I was on the scale this morning, and that's what I was. And I've had like a lot of meals out, but again, I try to have, I try to, well, I mean, I'm not going to miss out on something if I really like it, but I don't have to go overboard. It's that food will be there tomorrow. It's not the end of the world. So I eat more. I guess that's also mindful of what you're eating and enjoying the moment. And it's not really so much the food, but it's the social part that's why I'm there,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
because yeah.
mindful too because you're also paying attention to your body cues, which is
Mhm.
a big one for you. Because I remember like you talking about a restaurant that you liked going to, and it was like it's so good, right? So you don't want to feel like,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
now it's like you're paying attention to your body, and you're like, I'm satisfied. I've eaten it
Yes.
so slow. I've enjoyed the flavor, I've
Uh-huh.
enjoyed the company,
Yeah.
and I don't need to eat to that stuffed
No.
face anymore.
Yeah. And truthfully, we would when I ate it with people at work and things, we would always go for the dessert, but only not really that I was really hungry for it, but it wasn't kind of a thing you would do. Well, if I was going to do that, then I would probably plan my meal a little bit differently, and I wouldn't. I don't. I can't even think of the last time I've actually had the dessert part because I've enjoyed the meal and I've eaten it slower, that I don't feel like I need anything else. It would just be pushing it for me if I
Yeah.
did. Why? I wouldn't enjoy it really. So yeah.
Yeah. The other thing
Mhm.
was that in the very beginning you said, "Hey, I don't want to be the kind of person that tracks my entire life. I want to be the kind of
Right.
person who's an intuitive eater." So,
Mhm.
which is, we did part of the program doing the tracking. Once that felt really good and consistent, then we kind of said, "Hey, let's spend some time practicing this
Mhm.
intuitive piece." So, can you talk a little bit about like how you became an intuitive eater, how you transitioned into that without being so
Mhm.
focused on the numbers?
Yeah. Well, I have to say, honestly, I always felt, Cindy, that you're in my corner. I mean, if I was a boxer or something, I got Cindy there for me. So, the program is really good in that you keep on top of people every day. I always got an email and how's this part going? And I did like that we focused on four things for a couple of weeks, and then we would focus on, we'd change it up a bit. And so that I think that it really helped me with the eating part and actually the exercise and things. It's just, did you achieve what you thought you would? Because sometimes we say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do that," but if you don't actually write it down or hold yourself a little bit accountable, it's like having a goal but not writing it or whatever. You just, oh yeah, it's out there, but it isn't really real.
Yeah.
So I really liked that and I liked the feedback that I got from you. And yeah,
Yeah.
it just all pushed forward into that. And oh, and this is a kind of jumping all over the map, but one of the things was the mind body scan. And I never actually thought to do that. I mean, it is out there and it's so easy. I just went on YouTube, and so I honestly, since you mentioned it, and my issues with sleep and getting up a gazillion times in the night, I always do a mind body scan every night, and I never get to the end of it because I fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's really great. And then in the morning, I do most days, like I did this morning too. I'll do a mind body just to kind of get yourself going. And sometimes it's hard to take the 10 minutes, but it's so worth it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now that you brought up sleep, let's go there because in the beginning you were having a hard time staying asleep. Part of it was one, you were trying to prolong the day because there was a belief like I need to get more out of my day
Yeah.
and who am I if I go to bed early? And then it was interrupting your sleep. So can you just talk about like sleep, how
Mhm.
that's changed for you and what that looks like?
Yeah, it really has. And so what would happen was I would, get up several times through the night, and 4 o'clock would be this, okay, you're ready to start your day. Well, then if you start your day at 4 o'clock, if you have a busy day, you want to go to sleep at like about 6:30 or 7 at night, which is such a waste, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about how ways to kind of get that, going a little bit farther. And yeah, I did. And so just not being on my device and late, after supper, maybe watching a series or something, or I have a bicycle here and I could watch just a little part of a series or something, even to stretch my evening out. And then doing that mind body scan. And so I didn't have such an active mind when I went to sleep. So yeah, it didn't wasn't just like overnight, but I did work into it, and it, honestly, it doesn't happen to me very often. I used to think there was a train that went through Strathroy at 4 in the morning, and I must be the only one that hears it, but I don't know if that's it. But anyway, yeah. So I can't say that every day.
Yeah.
Occasionally I will, but oh, for sure, it's a different way of looking at sleep and
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
totally.
remember we had to like troubleshoot a couple of things to see what would help you get into that relaxed
Mhm.
state, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about reading. We tried a bunch of things.
Mhm.
So we found
Yeah.
what was the thing that was going to work for you to help
Mm.
you with your
Yeah.
sleep there. So then we had we figured out or we worked on this connection between stress and food for you.
Mhm.
And you made a couple of clicks, like a couple of things clicked around
Mhm.
stress. So do you want to share some of that?
Well, okay, so my mom was, I think my sister and I were pretty close, and I think we've talked about, growing up, all kinds of parts about it. And mom, I think we didn't realize that maybe our mom wasn't happy in a lot of ways, but sweets made her happy. And you don't, when you're a kid, you don't think that. If your parent makes you fudge at night, you think, wow, this is a bonus, right? So consequently, I carried that in, you know, with my kids. I would often make muffins in the morning and or cookies like quite frequently, and we would have a dessert every night. So, but it really wasn't, it was kind of part of it was an assumed thing, but it really, I think of it now as it should be a treat. I wouldn't want my grandkids to eat like that. You know, I would want them to eat more wholesome food and then occasionally have a treat, you know. So it was a bit of an eye opener, and just to stop and I know I did talk about, you know, you get stressed out and you don't really know that you are, so you go to the store and you buy a chocolate bar or something like that. Well, we talked about that, and Cindy said, well, what if you actually had that chocolate bar, but you sat at your table and you ate that chocolate bar as if it was like a meal or whatever? Well, I never thought that, to think of it that way. Yeah, so I actually did try that, and you know, I think I'm doing, you know, pretty good, and it's a totally different spin on it if you, if it's something that you're mindfully eating, you know, not having something and you don't even know what you've had. You're just, you know, but it doesn't take the stress. That does not take the stress away, just doing that. But forcing yourself to actually think about it. And then, you know, I also that wheel that you had, Cindy, that, you know, we talked about. So if you're feeling this way, is it really that you're, you know, is, are you really sad, or are you really hungry, or maybe are you angry with somebody, or are you, you know, all kinds of things, right? And I thought that was quite an eye opener too, because there's all kinds of different stress, and it's not all the same. It's not the same for everyone,
Yeah.
but you know, yeah.
And most people, when they're stressed, they just want to get over the moment as quickly
Hmm.
as possible. And so, what happens when you're an emotional eater tied to stress is the speed of eating also increases because you want to get through it. You want to get better. You want to feel better as fast as you
Hmm.
can. You feel guilty about what you're doing, so you just want to do it as fast as you can. And so, the idea of slowing down, it makes sense, but it's counterintuitive to what you're used to.
Hmm.
You want to get over the stress, so why would you sit with the stress, right? And it's like
Hmm.
somebody who eats for comfort. If you really want to feel comfort, why would you speed through that? Why wouldn't you
Hmm.
want to feel comfort longer? And we can do that by eating slowly. And I know for you, it's like, well, you kind of already knew you were a stress eater. You knew that that was kind of your tripwire.
Hmm.
But then through the process, it was neat to see you transition into like, I can do this differently. I can experience stress and be okay. It's not going to derail everything out of me. And I don't have to go to food. And all of a sudden, it's like, I got all these other things I can tap into to help me with
Hmm.
stress too. And you also, then the wheel too, it was like you realized it wasn't actually stress, it was a bunch of other things that were going on.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah.
and I also liked we talked about stress, and that, you know, you sometimes you don't really have to invite that stress into your life, right? And it's okay to say no. And those people that, you know, have busy lives and families that need them, you get feeling like you can't ever say no, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can for your own mental health, because you'll be a better person for
Yeah.
them in the long run if you're happier and healthier, instead of being grumpy because you're doing something you don't really want to do.
Yeah. That's
So,
right. I was
yeah.
listening to a podcast the other day and they said it's okay for you to watch the story without being
Mhm.
in the story.
Totally. Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a good way of putting it, right? Like we can watch the
Yeah.
story or read the story, but we don't have to interject ourselves into it.
Totally.
One of the goals you had was, hey, you were going to be looking after your grandson for a week while they
Mhm.
were away, and you said, hey, I just want to make sure that I'm strong enough to be able to carry him because he's a heavy boy and to be able to do it. And we did it.
I did. Yeah, it was, I couldn't believe. I was like so, well, stressing myself out and anticipating what, oh, you know, and I can't believe it. I think the day before his mom and dad were coming home, I couldn't believe I was at this day already because it had gone so well. And yeah, they have a few stairs, but just lifting him up and playing with him on the floor, I totally thought, you know what? If I don't get looking after myself better, I'm not going to be able to get up and down. I just won't be able to, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, I did, and my knees were fine, and, you know, and yeah, it was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to share with the audience about the workshops that we did? Because they were very mindset, personal growth.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like
I
to?
did. Yeah. Well, actually, I did like that other people were involved. You invited some other women in, and I did like that too, because sometimes someone asks you specifically a question and you're like, oh, where do I go with it? But someone else has another take on that question. And what they're saying is, yeah, I have experienced it, but just them saying it kind of pulls it out of your memory and you realize it's from you. I Yeah, I think, and one of the girls was, or women was young, quite younger, and so I could see a little bit of myself, in her, and the stress of having young kids and in your life. So it was, yeah, it's very good. I think when we get together and we share, we have shared those for sure.
Yeah.
About, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's the feedback I always get. I always get trepidation at the very beginning when, oh, like
Hmm.
in a group with other people.
Yeah.
And then once we're in it, with those workshops, which are very personal development, right? It's
Hmm.
getting to tie
Yeah.
everything together. That's always the feedback is like, it was
Hmm.
comforting to be that one, everybody was sharing openly,
Yeah.
but two, that I'm not the only one feeling like that, you know,
Yeah.
that I'm
Yeah.
in good company. So, just before we go, what would you say, like, to the woman who says, "Hey, I'm too old," or "It's like too
Mhm.
late for me. I've tried everything." What do you say to that woman?
I would just say, think about yourself, like truthfully, and your health and moving forward. And so 70, lived 70 years. And yes, it's been great. I've had some accomplishments, but there are some things that I didn't do because of my mindset and my probably being overweight and physical, I don't want that going forward. And I would say to anybody else, you don't have to have that either. And I know this is I think truthfully, I'm 70 and I hope to live for another 20 years, but maybe I won't. I want to make the next years the best they can be. So I
Mhm.
think with someone, I just think it's never like too late to move yourself forward health wise. And if you can be out there even walking or hiking or things, that just those things, how much better you feel getting out and doing it. And yeah, and
Yeah,
age, as they say, age is only a number,
it
but
is.
you do have to look after yourself to make that age last longer, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, like it's always like that meme that goes around and they're a couple and they're in Italy and the woman's sleeping. She waited all her whole life to go to Italy on a trip and she can't stay awake. And it's like we always think about like longevity, but we never think
Mhm.
about the quality of that longevity. So that's where we need to start thinking about that.
Mhm.
And so, what would be like the one piece of advice you would give to someone like who's like, I know I need to get started, but I just don't know what to start with.
Yeah, well, I would say honestly, follow Cindy. You start there because all the little pieces are all come together. They're all tied together. The stress, the sleep, the nutrition, your mindset, all those things. So I feel like you just can't just work on one of them, but you work on all of them. So I would just say, like, follow Cindy and watch what other people have talked about, and the things that you share, Cindy, yourself about, because then hopefully you'll kind of have a light bulb moment like I did and think, okay, you know, I I just I need someone to bring it all together for me instead of randomly searching Google things and then doing this and doing that and trying. But no, it is a whole package, and yeah, and I would say, yeah, just give it a try for sure.
Yeah, good. Anything you want to say before we go?
Well, it's a bit sappy, but thank you for being in my corner, Cindy. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, for sure. I like to think, okay, I'm not your mother. I possibly could be, but but yeah. So I think it just kind of shows, like, like you have we just said, like, age is a number, and really, be healthy and move forward, and find that motivation that gets you going, and it isn't an all or nothing. I think that's a big one. It's not an all or nothing. Like, aim for like that set, 80%, and go with. I think I shared to you something, about, people. Doesn't matter how fast you go, but as long as you're going in the right direction, we'll just get on the right direction, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really excited to see all your traveling adventures come to fruition
Mhm.
and seeing you kind of like experience life in this next phase that you're in, right? You post
Mhm.
journey, I guess, you feeling your best self and being able to
Yeah.
experience that. I'm
Yeah.
wondering because you've been so open throughout the coaching journey to take on new things. So I'm excited to see, you're going to go in Italy, and I'm just excited to see what new thing is she going
Mhm.
to do in Italy.
No. Yeah.
It might be like Diane Lane and
Well, you never know. Maybe I won't be able to share those, Cindy.
maybe. Right. Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Barb,
Thanks.
for sharing
Yeah,
your
thank
story with
you.
everybody in this community. I hope that it resonated with you as you give it a watch, whether it's live or replay. And I hope you'll head to the comments and give Barb a little thumbs up or a little
Mhm.
heart, or maybe just share one thing that kind of hit home for you. So that would be really great. Okay, thanks again, Barb.
Okay. Take care.
We did it.
We did it. Woohoo.
Are you sweating?
Okay. I didn't roll my eyes too much, but anyway,
No, you
it's
did
like
it. There's
flowed enough, I guess. Someone could get, really a little bit all over the map with me sometimes, but I think it makes it real.
I thought it was really good.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Really good. You didn't cut out. I didn't see the eye rolling.
Okay.
But yeah, I think you're very real.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Are you
Yeah.
gonna watch it back, or are you gonna be like, no?
Well, I probably will, and I'll probably watch it like with a pillow, like it's a scary movie. I'll be like this. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
Montreal is coming up then.
I know that. Yeah, it is right after Easter, the 17th, the Monday.
Feeling
So
good
yeah,
about it?
yeah. Well, I have to say, I was a little bit worried when I was in the hospital. Like I just thought, oh my goodness. And well, my potassium dropped. Well, now my potassium is dangerously high. So I know, isn't this is bizarre, right?
You
So I
think
have
it's
to
the
go.
med?
Well, so there was like a blood pressure medication that they had me on, and anyway, so that could lower your potassium. So when I was in there, they decided, well, you should go on this, and they just gave it to me. And then all of a sudden, well, I actually felt dizzy. I had to sit down, and I had to lay down. So I was at the doctor and she said, okay, we're cutting it in half. And I want you to do your blood work. Well, then they called me that afternoon and said, okay, your potassium level is 5.5 and 6 is dangerously high, could cause like heart attack and that kind of thing. So yeah. So anyway, I'm going back. I'll go back Monday or Tuesday and have I guess have it checked. It's kind of, it is a little, I'm not going to freak out about it, but I do only have one kidney and I don't, the other thing is it can be people that have kidney disease, which I don't have,
Yeah.
but I only have one kidney. People that could be a problem. That could be why you have it or something because your kidney isn't working well. But so
You have to
anyway,
work harder.
yeah, I
Doesn't
know.
do the work of two kidneys
Yeah,
instead of one,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
kind of right, but thankfully I went, and honestly, Strathroy, I can't complain. Was one person in the emerge, and I was there at say 5:30. I was in a room by 7.
But
I
you
don't
went in because you hadn't gone to the bathroom. It wasn't because then anyone else.
totally. That's right. I was like, oh, God, this is like I can't stand it. This pain, right? And anyway, which I've never had in my life before, but it's all I think it's part of that the potassium being extremely low
Yeah.
and things working well. Well, now now I can go from low to completely the other way. So yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be. Thankfully, I was gone on top of it. So yeah.
Yeah. So you go in and then basically they're going to
Yep.
be looking at your medication.
Hmm. I know, right? So
Yeah.
what do you think of my false eyelashes?
I like them. Your picture was so great. You like wearing them?
Well, it's a little different. These are not as dramatic. I thought when Sabina put one, I thought, oh my God, I have caterpillars on my eyelids. So I bought ones that were not, but I think they're still, because
Yeah.
I don't have very dark eyelashes at all, for
Are
sure.
you going
So
to get them done, or are you going to keep using
I'm
those?
not sure. I might. I don't know if I will. I'm
Yeah,
debating about getting my eyebrows. My girls have that. I don't know if you've
I have
done
them.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And Gemma's look really good. But I have a little bump in my eyebrow, and they told me that they're not sure they could do it because it could be like some kind of a cyst or something. And that's right where my eyebrow goes. So anyway, I might go to see that, have another person look and see if
Yeah,
they could.
yeah. If
Yeah.
you want eyelashes, Liz Couchy at Jalou here in town,
Okay.
she's
Good
really
town.
great.
It's really good.
Yeah, she's really, really great. She's so
Mhm.
meticulous. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I did get my eyebrows done, but you have to
Yeah.
go through that phase of like they look dumb. And then they
You
are
have to
okay.
get used to them again, right? Oh, I mean, I do pencil them in and stuff, but it would be nicer if I didn't have to do it because I was when I was in high school, you plucked all your eyebrows out. That's how you
Right.
what you did, right? Well, now that you they don't I don't have hardly have any, so
Yeah.
yeah.
When I got it done the very first time, I came home and Neil goes, "You look like Eugene Levy."
Oh God.
And he was like, "And that's permanent?" And I was like, "It's a fade."
I'll just wear sunglasses. Make sunglasses for a while until it
I
goes
went out
out.
with girlfriends that night and I was
Oh my
just like,
God,
"Oh
eh?
my God, I didn't expect them to be that bad."
Yeah.
But then
But
they
I wouldn't have known. They look great. Looks
Mhm.
great.
I got
Yeah.
my mom, we gave it to my mom for Christmas too because
Hmm.
she has thyroid issues, so she actually doesn't
Oh,
have the
yeah.
eyebrow hair, and she was
Yeah.
drawing them on, and she was terrible at it. So,
Yeah.
so we got them done for hers, and with
Oh,
having no hair, they look really natural.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that's really good. Well, it does frame your face. It helps to frame your face for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Definitely. Do
I
you go to get fillers every couple of weeks or for your eyelashes? How often, if you got your lashes done, would you?
Yeah, I used to do it all the time, and then
And then,
I ended up getting an eye infection. Not because of that, I got an eye
yeah,
infection, and then I
yeah.
just never went back. But you went for a full set, and there was for me, I could get away with every 5 weeks I could go in for
Hmm.
filler, but some people are 4 weeks for the
Yeah. Yep.
yeah. But it
Yeah.
depends on how much you're getting put in too, right? And I have
Yeah.
pretty long lashes, and they're pretty dark underneath, so I could go longer periods of time without
Hmm.
having
Yeah.
gaps.
So
Yeah.
I had to go over to Sabina's because I couldn't actually put these on. So I was like, oh, I don't know how that would work. Can I come to your house and put my eyelashes on before I go out? Anyway, so
I love it. Look at all this new stuff you're getting
yeah,
into. That's great.
that's good. So
Yeah,
anyway, thank you. I see my cousin Libby Sutherland must follow you because I see she posted and said, could I get the replay? That's my cousin. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. She
yeah, from
mentioned that.
Woodstock. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, she mentioned that she was your cousin and she wanted the
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's good.
she must have been like, "Is that Barb?"
That doesn't look like the Barb I saw last time I saw her.
Yeah, you guys just had a really big family birthday party too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
we did. We've had, yeah, it was great. It was, well,
yeah.
Cooper was hugely, yeah. And you knew Paul's father passed away. Did you know? Did Neil know, kind of? Or
Yeah, Neil still, they don't really talk a lot, but Neil
yeah, I know.
and
Yeah.
him are still friends. Yeah, so yeah, and then
Then
his
they,
obituary was in the paper too. So
yeah,
he sent
yeah.
all
So
the yeah.
yeah, and I don't know if you know this, but his mother has dementia.
Didn't
She's
his dad too?
he had Parkinson's disease, so he couldn't feed himself. He lost his motor skills and that kind of thing. And Marge has, and she's, well, he was 77, so I think Marge might be 75. I'm not really sure, but she's actually in a home up near where Tracy and Rich live. Up,
Palmerston.
it's in Listowel, so yeah, because she can't, you
Did
know.
that just happen recently though? Because I feel like it wasn't too long ago that I saw her out for a walk.
Yeah, I think it's in November or December, Paul took her grocery shopping, just randomly, and he said, pick out some bananas. I'm going down here, and she was standing in there. Not she didn't know what she was supposed to get, and or how many of whatever, and she was just beside herself. She had no.
Yeah,
She was there. We did go to visitation, but I could tell she she was really struggling with trying to form any kind of a set
yeah.
conversation. Really,
Hard.
really yeah, really. So
Yeah, I just remember like she was always walking all the
oh,
time.
she walked all over the place, and I know Paul, he didn't really like his dad. He had not a very good relationship with him, so but whatever, it is what it
Yeah,
is, I guess. So anyway, yeah, so but
yeah.
anyway, well, thank
Okay.
you.
Well,
Okay, and I'll
and
just keep following you. Mhm.
yeah, keep following, and then I'll keep inviting
Mhm.
you back to the workshops in
Yeah,
case we're
yeah.
doing.
Yeah, that'd be great. And yeah, I'll just be keeping in and keeping going and touching.
Yeah.
I might try to go down to 150. I'm not too sure. Oh, you know what I meant to mention? getting new clothes. That was a biggie for me. I always, because I still went and I bought large, and they're just, they were too big. I take them back. So,
You're not that person anymore.
I know, it was
Wow.
great. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, share some pictures with me once you get back from Montreal.
I will for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
thanks,
Take
Barb.
care.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.